It's back home this week for the Luther College Norse as Central comes to town for a parents' weekend contest. Last week, the Norse traveled down to the Rock Bowl in Dubuque and took on the Loris Duhawks. Duhawks ended up getting them 44-29. Head coach Joe Troche joining us. And Coach, if you could unmute yourself there for a second so you can respond. There you go. Looking at the film from last week's games, what were the takeaways from your perspective?
Yeah, we fought for 4 quarters and started off pretty well defensively with a 3 and out, got some stops, and a little slow start offensively, but responded in the second quarter, tied up, won the first half, and then opened up with the kick and didn't move the ball as well as we should have. Like our calls, guys are open. We underthrew them, or when we do throw it on time, we drop it. So great effort, but God, we got to execute, right? Just shoot ourselves in the foot. And when you're playing the best teams in this league, you're not going to get away with that.
Basically, long story longer, are you basically saying little things mean a lot?
And definitely don't hurt, right? You watch the film, and it's never as good or as bad as you think. But our guys, left that game feeling good because they're in the game the whole time. They're battling, felt like we had options, and we had our opportunities to win it, and we didn't make those plays. Loris just made more of them.
And looking at some of the numbers from that game, one stat I'd imagine you looked at and you probably weren't very comfortable with was your running attack. Overall, 28 carries and just 10 net yards is probably not a stat that you want game in and game out. What's it going to take to get specifically the running attack back in order?
Yeah, if you watch the film, we feel good about pre-snap what we got, and we've got to identify the right people we're going to block, and we got to stay on blocks longer. If we have a double team, use it. And so we got to do a better job communicating up front and being consistent and getting to where we're supposed to. And I like what our backs are doing in terms of their cuts and where their eyes are. They're doing a good job there. So we got to do a better job blocking it. And then when it's not there, right, you got to make people pay. And so if they're going to stack the box, you got to get them off by completing, your RPOs or whatever you have within your system. So,
and on the passing game end of things, 23 of 43 for Bull, 198 yards. He did throw for the 3 touchdowns, but threw 2 picks. What were you happy with in the passing game? Where do you need to get better based on last week's performance?
Yeah, when he's on time, God, he can make every throw, right? When he's, not falling backwards as he throws, right? He can drive through his lower body. He's just got to believe in the system, and he's got to continually to take what he sees and not second guess it and not wait till guys are open, right? When he's buying into the system and doing things that he's supposed to, we ask of him, we look really good. And even if a guy drops it, right, we'll keep coming back to him, right? Nick Gonzalez drops a critical, ball down the middle of the field. We come back to him on the 2-point conversion. So we'll keep coming back to our guys, and hopefully we're gaining more trust with our players, knowing that, hey, we're not going to just cut you loose. Like, hey, you got one bad play, get out, right? We got the whole game. We got 60 minutes with you. You're going to have opportunities to respond. And how do you respond? And so can't turn the ball over, right? Especially in the red zone. So, especially when we're playing well defensively, we've got to be okay knowing, hey, we might have to play field position here and not always just try to score on every single play.
And one individual line on the defensive side that stood out to me looking at the stat sheet, Braden Daly, 10 tackles, 2 tackles for a loss in that pick that set up the tying score right before halftime. How has Braden progressed through the first 2 weeks?
Yeah, I mean, he's a stud. He's a leader. He's very coachable, and he's very tough to defend. And he's definitely somebody that we have high expectations for week in and week out. And I thought he did a really good job against a team that likes to throw the ball and, really gets the ball out quick. He's dominant in the run game, and you can see, based off that pick, he's also making it hard on quarterbacks in the pass game. So he's someone that we expect to contribute each week.
Other than the areas we've just touched on, in what other ways did you make some progress from week 1 to week 2?
Yeah, we're young in the back end, so I love to see the communication. I love to see our secondary getting us in the right calls, getting us in the right structures. And we just got to be consistent with our eyes, making sure if our eyes are supposed to go 1 to Q, or, if I'm matching a route, having my eyes on that route the whole time and not peeking at quarterback. So more consistency there, and those little things that lead to big things, right? We got beat on some perimeter screen where we got the numbers, but instead of pitting outside, right, we hit the man full on. And so that's a good, well-coached team, and they got to the edge on us. Or we have someone there that's going to fit him up and takes the wrong angle, right? Should fit outside in and fits inside out. And so when he breaks a tackle, his teammates are farther away than they should be because he didn't win his leverage. So really like the way we're playing in the back end in terms of each week we're getting better. I like what our backers are doing, and our D-line is really the strength of our defense. Our first group were seniors, and the next group were all freshmen. So those young guys are getting a lot of quality reps and getting better each week. So I'm really proud of that.
And when judging your D-line, us folks on the outside looking in, we tend to want to look at numbers all the time, but facing a team like St. Olaf that got the ball out quick on a regular basis, and Loris, a quarterback that gets the ball out quick quite a bit, can you really judge your D-line based on numbers against teams that throw the ball with those quick developing patterns like you have the first 2 weeks?
Yeah, I think for me, the numbers are a little deceiving. For honestly, if you got a good D-line, you're probably going to get a bunch of picks, right? And if you got a good back end, you're probably going to get a lot of sacks. We're playing a team last week that was all 3 steps, so you're not going to see a lot of sacks. They did a good job of, the quarterback specifically did a really good job of getting the ball out quick and then extending plays. He's probably one of the better quarterbacks I've seen in terms of when you scramble. Him and his teammates have a great rapport, and he can get that ball out. An incompletion was almost as good as a sack against these guys. And so, the week prior, we had probably more tackles for loss I've ever had. And we lost by quite a bit because on first and second down, we couldn't get off the field. But we're doing a really good job getting off the field on third down. We've got to do a better job on first and second.
And this week, you got Central coming to town, a team that's 2-1, coming off a loss to Co last week. What are you expecting out of the Dutch come Saturday?
They're tough as nails. If you watch their games, they've been pretty dominant, and that Co team is really good. So you just saw 2 heavyweights go at it, and the game could have gone either way. A lot of plays on offense, defense, special teams. I mean, it's a full game. They are well-rounded in all 3 phases, and they're very well coached. And we got our hands full. They got 3 quarterbacks that all can play in this conference, and so I think they're still trying to figure out who their guy is. But it's really preparing for almost 3 different offenses because they all bring really a different game plan.
How does that make that difficult, knowing the fact that you'll have different rules, different keys, and maybe a different game plan based on who's under center or behind center?
Yeah, we spend more time with our players identifying, right? Hey, formations, quarterback, and you really got to put a lot of it on your players in terms of, guys, you got to understand the picture that's in front of you. Don't just get lined up and play, so they can anticipate a little bit more. And, they're up tempo. So that kind of helps a little bit in terms of that's going to shorten the menu by default. You can't call all your stuff, right? You can't send in 5-6 word calls because Central's just going to get lined up and run. Right, run their system. So very simple like Loris, but very dynamic in that, they get their guys out there running, making plays on the run, making decisions on the run, and they're all in sync. So I think of it almost like a fast break offense in basketball. So they're really good. They're really talented.
All right, Coach, hopefully you can take the next step forward and keep your kids healthy this weekend. We wish you best of luck in the Parents Weekend game against Central on Saturday.
Thanks, Darren. We'll see you soon.
Joe Troche, head coach of the Luther College Norse. It's the Norse and the Dutch, Saturday at 1:00, Legacy Field in Carlson Stadium.